Is Asia's new mega airport already a disaster? No, don't say the Philippines in the word disaster, please. I had enough. I've had enough. What are these videos? Dude, guys, this is actually going to be like doomer fucking videos, dude. What do you mean?
One of the largest airports in the world is being built in the Philippines.
Yes! Please, please, yes! Finally, we have something. Finally! Okay, now tell me how it's so successful and everything's going well.
Twice as big as JFK International and nearly 3 times bigger than Sydney Airport, New Manila International will engulf a staggering 2,500 hectares of land. And once complete,
What?
will be able to welcome 100 million passengers
What?
every year. Oh, and within 30 years, sinking land and floods could render this $15 billion
Did people forget that the Philippines is like literally in the coastline of typhoons and floodings? Did we forget? Or I thought they were going to build for that. Or am I tripping?
project completely defunct.
What?
In its bid to lead the way for Southeast
What?
Asia, the Philippines is taking an enormous gamble on Nemea.
It was a gamble. Are you serious, dude? Oh my god. Are you serious?
Or New Manila International.
I thought we're smart enough to like at least like engineer so that the flooding and typhoons wouldn't be an issue, you know, since we already know what's gonna happen. Surely we could still make it happen, right?
Airports. You see, the nation's biggest and busiest airport, Ninoy Aquino International,
I fucking hate this airport. It's the worst airport imaginable. Guys, if you've ever been to this fucking airport, it's so fucking ugly. It's the ugliest. It's so hard to go to because there's always traffic all around this fucking area. It's so dog shit. It's hot inside the thingy. And it's just ass. It's ass. It's ass. It's ass.
is completely oversubscribed. Last year, it welcomed
Oh my god, it's giving me PTSD. This is exactly how it's like to be in like the Philippines airport. Overcrowded as shit. Can't fucking fit anywhere. Have to like no AC. It's hot as f from the human heat.
50 million people through its terminals. That's even higher than pre-pandemic numbers. But Ninoy Aquino wasn't designed for this level of traffic.
Right.
In fact, it was only meant to handle between 35 and 40 million passengers
Oh, we need a new airport wire.
every year. And that's led to this place getting a reputation for major crowding and delays. When airports run into this issue, they often go for expansion to solve their problems.
Right.
It's generally a lot simpler to keep the
How can you expand if there's housing all around the airport?
main logistics hub in one place, not to mention a heck of a lot cheaper than building a whole new airport. But there's a problem. Ninoy Aquino is completely locked in. It's surrounded by thousands of homes split into barangays.
Guys, just burn the homes. They already did that before.
And in a city as densely populated as Manila, rehoming
Hi, by the way, that joke is not even like
Deme, through
genuinely
you
a
and the
joke.
knowledge around the Philippines,
People have
I'm
done
pretty
that.
sure everyone becomes a gambler.
FYI,
Philippines the #1 gambler country.
there are slums in the Philippines, and then like a condo wants to be built there because it's actually a technical good location. So what they would do is create a fucking fire. Just out of nowhere. Somebody left the stove on. Made a humongous fire. Whole slums are burnt down. I guess you guys have to move out. I guess we can build our little mall here. I guess we can build our condo here. It happens all the time. It's very scary.
this population is pretty much out of the question. In fact, Manila is so densely populated that if you want to find
And that's the reason why I was okay, I'm so sorry to sound like a a conspiracy theorist, but I remember when hearing about remember when I heard about the fucking California fires, and I was like, was it actually an accident that those fires happened, or did it happen because the government wanted it to happen? Like, dude, I was so skeptical of it because it happened so much in the Philippines that I can't trust it, dude. I don't know, man. Everything sounds like an inside job to me.
new spot for an airport, then you've got to get creative. Which brings us here. The land for this airport...
Like, there was like, I think there was like rumors as well that they stopped, like just like a few days before the fire happened, they stopped the waterways on going through that area as well. Interesting.
Is being raised from the sea, setting the stage for the new Manila International Airport. Now, the first challenge for anyone using this airport is getting to it, because it's...
Oh, I literally talked about this, dude. I fucking. Dude, you know what? Every time I need to go to the airport or whatever, I have to like, okay, so I have to get ready like maybe we have to leave by like maybe 5 hours beforehand, maybe 4 hours beforehand because of traffic. You know, you can never know with traffic, dude. You never know what happens if there's a humongous traffic and I don't know, it's scary.
Being built out on the sea. That's why expressways and rail line connections are under construction, including 2 separate airport toll roads measuring 8 and 18 kilometers.
Holy shit!
Follow those roads to the airports, and you'll find a passenger terminal big enough to take your breath away.
What?
Now, you might have noticed I said passenger terminal, not terminals, plural. And that's because, unlike a lot of big airports where different terminals are built to filter passengers, that's not happening here.
Are they fucking stupid? Look up Anas, like we're 18 months. What the fuck are they doing?
Quite frankly ridiculous. 100 million passengers are all being processed through a huge singular building.
Are we fucking stupid? No fucking way.
And it'll look absolutely spectacular.
Oh my god, wait. I see the vision. I'm not gonna lie. That looks sick.
While there is only one passenger terminal, airports are of course about more than just travellers. A huge amount of money is made from freight, so there is a cargo terminal also under construction. It'll span 52,000 square metres, enough to process 500,000 tonnes of cargo.
Love to see the cargo fully fucking drenched in water. Flooded, water damage, great.
Every year. But visually, there's no denying that the passenger terminal really does steal the show, with 6 concourses attached to the main hub. And in time, 4 runways ranging from 2,600 to 3,500 metres are going to be laid, with a reported capacity of 240 aircraft every hour. Now, for context, Ninoy Aquino processes about 40 aircraft an hour.
Guys, whenever I need to get picked up from the airport, my brother always has to wait like an hour or 2, literally waiting. Even if I've already landed in the Philippines, it takes so long to get our bags because, I don't fucking know. But it takes literally like 2 hours just to wait for the bags sometimes. The most I've ever had to wait for my bag in this fucking airport is 2 hours. And so I just told my brother, I would rather just like have you be here like, you know, maybe 2 hours later so that you don't have to wait for me. Cause like this is insane. Like waiting for your bags and just sitting around and I'm just like, there's no seats as well. So I'm just like standing there waiting, just waiting for the fucking like bag to come in.
Heathrow processes near 60, and the world's busiest airport, Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta, processes on average 100 aircraft every hour.
Holy shit! They truly wanted to be the biggest of the biggest. Oh my god, that's so sick though. You know, I respect the idea. Because like, if ever it becomes a hub, that means for us Filipinos, flights would be cheaper. Please let that happen, please.
The vision for New Manila International is bold right down to its foundations. Go back just 4 short years to 2021 and this site was just sea and fields, but it's gone through a dramatic transformation, a massive footprint
Oh my god, all the fields are gone!
of land has been developed using 150 million cubic meters of borrow material, which is basically a mix of sand and sediment collected from around the world. Now, there are a few different ways to do that, all of it centering on a few key principles. Here, Dutch dredging company Boskalis employed a selection of vessels known as dredgers to basically act like hoovers and suck up sand from one location before transporting it to another. Once the sand was deposited into Manila Bay, Boskalis went about preparing the land.
It's all pretty straightforward so far. However, the problem with dumping sand and sediment into the sea is something called soil liquefaction. It's where the material gets saturated with water.
So we didn't think about that beforehand, or what?
Becomes unstable at its base. And that's not ideal when you're building something really heavy like an airport. Boskalis' solution is called dynamic compaction.
It's a process in which 10 to 20 ton hammers are dropped repeatedly from 10 to 25 meters. That compresses the soil, displacing any water within it and making it a sturdier surface to build on, a bit like squeezing a sponge. Now, earlier this year, it was reported that 80% of the land had...
Oh my god, dude, that much construction just for preparation too? Oh my, why didn't we do this in like, I don't know, like somewhere else, not the Philippines? Why the f did we do it in a place where we have like problems with typhoons and flooding? Oh my god.
Already been prepared. But as with pretty much every mega project, that's slightly behind schedule, and the blame goes back to a specific phrase I used earlier: borrow material. By the nature of the name, the sand used to create these foundations comes from elsewhere, and Boskalis ran out. You see, the stuff we build our sandcastles out of as kids is actually an incredibly hot commodity. In fact, behind water, it's the most consumed natural resource on the planet. Nearly 7 billion tons of sand and sediment are dredged.
Damn, they're doing this not in like Poland, where we've known that we need a bigger airport since 1930 and there's still nothing happening in that directory. Oh man.
From our seas around the world each year. But as massive as those reserves are, they're limited. Sand is used.
Do you want a new airport or not? I do, but I want it in my fucking lifetime. This sounds like a fucking project that will like last until like, oh my god, finally. And I'm fucking 45 and I'm like, oh my god, finally there's a new airport in the Philippines. Like, dude, come on, man.
Everything from concrete, mortar and glass.
Why couldn't they just like make the new airport and then build upon it? You know what I mean? Work upon it. You know what I mean? Make it where it's like at least usable first. Not like all in one go. Like, dude.
To your more obvious applications like golf course bunkers and playground sandpits. Worldwide demand has turned into a vicious war, with people killed in the struggle for this material. Riverbeds and beaches are being stripped as developers search for more and more. And once Boskalis ran out of sand for the original site, the project had no choice but to halt, delaying the opening date by a year.
Guys, we all know how this feels like when you need more sand and the sand place that you've pretty much dug up on in Minecraft is all finished, so you have to go somewhere else. Unless you want to like get the sand under the water, but you don't. Nobody wants to fucking do that. So you just go to another beach in Minecraft and empty it out. Mr. Crab
is now back underway on the final sections of land development.
Is that the same idea, by the way? Is that literally the same idea?
But that's just one of a number of controversial hurdles to cross. As with many mega projects, the next problem was only just around the corner. In the case of this airport, it comes in the form of sinking land and floods.
You should take the, say, worst case scenario somehow. But the feasibility study went the other way. They took the most optimistic data.
They used the most optimistic data? Not the worst case scenario. Oh my god, this is the literal reason why natural disasters and horrible like shit happens. Like, bro, this is the reason why the Japanese like fucking what do you guys call that? The nuclear fucking disaster happened. This is the reason.
Assessments carried out by the airport's developer SMC predicted that sea levels would rise by about 5.3 millimeters a year up to 2050. But a variety of experts, including Olaf Neusner, say that figure is completely undercooked.
Oh, this is why Chernobyl happened too. They always assume that the worst case scenario wouldn't happen because, like, why would it? Because, you know, why would somebody want to overload a nuclear reactor, right? But then they did, and whatever.
For this region.
There is an average of sea level rise in the whole world, and this is in the range of 5 millimeters per year. But
I don't think that that's why Chernobyl happened. Chernobyl happened because they cut corners and they wanted to cheap out, and so they they swapped out a material that was supposed to be something else to something cheaper, and they assumed that the worst case scenario would never happen, because why would you push the nuclear reactor to its 100% limit anyway? So like they were like, oh, it's fine as long as it doesn't ever, as long as nobody ever pushes it that far, it's fine. But let's keep it a secret, and nobody ever knows about that until the meltdown happens. And they were stress testing it when the meltdown happened. Yeah. They were stress testing it when the meltdown happened. However, they stress tested so hard when they weren't supposed to do that. They never waited until the reactor actually calmed down and was in its normal limits. They did the simulation thingy again after the literal time when it's not even supposed to. They did not follow protocol. They did not follow protocol. The worst case scenario happened. And the reason why they did that, FYI, the reason why Chernobyl even happened is because of, like, one, the materials were, like, switched out. Two, the workers thought, oh, you know, as long as we have that button anyway, that we could, like, just shut down the reactor, you know, it's fine. However, they didn't know that the materials were swapped out to be something else because, like, they were trained for something else. We have that button to, like, save it anyway and cool down the AZ5 or whatever the well, we have that anyway, so it's fine. It was not fine. They cheaped out, and they did not look into the fact that, like, you know, the worst case scenario would happen, and the worst case scenario did happen.
The same all over the world. And the measurements in the Manila Bay are much higher. What is increasingly used,
I think a lot of people just don't want to think about the worst case scenario all the fucking time. But when it comes to constructions of these stuff, I think I'm surprised why people ignore the worst case scenario. I don't get it. I don't get why they want to be optimistic with their data or whatever the fuck. Like, isn't it more money? This is exactly the same idea of, like, Americans building really shit houses. Instead of it being built really good and expensive at the first start, and then you can get a house for a lifetime and more to your children, you can pass it down or whatever, but you rather, like, spend a little bit lesser now than and then rebuild in the future because it's technically cheaper in your lifetime. But, like, this is, like, one of those projects where, like, you can't just, like, cheap out. I don't understand.
These altimetric methods from satellite. And so you consistently see that in the Manila Bay, sea level is rising quite a bit faster than in the average all over the world.
Their estimates is much closer to somewhere between 13 to 15 millimeters of sea level rise
They did
each
cut
year.
corners.
Nearly.
Oh my god. Me, when somebody's talking about something I was autistic about it and I search all about it and
3 times higher than
how about you
SMC's
Google it and then
verdicts.
talk to me?
And if, like me, you're wondering how the sea level could be higher in one area than somewhere else, then know that it all comes down to currents and temperature, a process called stereodynamic sea level change.
Ocean currents transport heat around the planet via the sea, but as the ice sheets melt, more fresh water is created, changing the sea's density and temperature.
What?
In turn, that changes the speed and location of where currents carry water. It means that coastlines close to melting ice are less likely to feel the impact of sea level rises than those countries further away.
And when you couple that with storm surges, characterised by an abnormal rise in sea levels due to high winds and low atmospheric pressure, you have a problem. Manila sits in a typhoon region that faces powerful tropical cyclones.
On average, about 20 tropical storms strike.
Did we not think about that beforehand? That we thought that the Philippines would be a good place to make a fucking mega airplane place? Did we not think about that, or did we just forget?
The Philippines each year, bringing heavy rain, strong winds, and deadly landslides.
Rain patterns are changing towards drier dry seasons, and when
Why doesn't the government just work on making the country where it's not just a flood fucking fest and actually build a what do you guys call it when a drainage system, like an actual genuine good drainage system, so that we're not always flooded and the streets are not always flooded and the drainage is always not like clogged or something like that? How about we do that instead of making a new airport?
wet seasons.
Yeah, flood control system. We literally don't have a flood control system. Did you know that? The only place that has a flood control system is, I think, BGC. And that's like a really small fucking place of the Philippines. Like, really small. It's like a literal, like, town, practically.
Means you might have droughts when you don't want them, and you might have too much rain and then floods. So the most likely scenario is increased floods in some areas, and including, of course, Manila or the new airport area.
And Bulacan, where the airport's being built, is one of the top...
Flooding used to be so bad in my area that I used to swim in the flood water when I was a kid.
10 flood-prone areas in the country. If that wasn't enough, we've also got to point out that Manila Bay, as well as all coastal areas in the Philippines, sit along the Pacific Ring of Fire.
It was literally a free pool. Like, I remember when I was a kid. No, this is legitimately the most like Filipino thing to do when you're young, and then you just swim in the flood water. It's literally, by the way, the water reached until like my chest. It was so bad that it reached my chest, and I was like, wee!
Of high seismic activity. It means that earthquakes and tsunamis are much more likely. Basically, the new Manila International Airport is being constructed...
Deme, look on the bright side. It turns from the largest airport to a huge dock.
Yay!
Real bear pit.
And it's not like land reclamation guarantees granite-like stability. Sure, you're going to end up with a good surface. It's going to be strong and sturdy enough to...
Wait, so they wanted to make an airport, but they didn't? They just made a, like, place for the land, but they didn't make a flood system. Ah! Why don't we ever make a flood system? I don't understand.
Put a building on. But preparing for an earthquake is a whole different ballgame. And
Earthquakes, too. Why don't we just learn from the Japanese as well? I think the Japanese also has like they have like a insane flood system. Insane. Like they're Japan's flood control thingy. Oh my god. I hate when I see my neighbors doing better than we are. God. Whatever, dude. The insane scale of Tokyo's disaster mega plan. Great. Fuck you. Fuck you, man. Okay, how about... Okay, here wait. What the fuck just happened? Ew. Okay, wait, guys. Philippines. It's all politics. Oh, it's the Cabrals and flood control corruption scandal. Oh, the individual implications. Oh, scandal, blah, blah, corruption, scandal. Great. Arrested over the ghost flood control project in Davao. Okay, great. Wait, this is 2 days ago. Oh my god, are you serious? Are you serious? Oh my god. Great.
Part of the problem here is that Manila Bay features these thick layers of soft clay and loose sand, which are a nightmare for liquefaction and soil movement.
Deme for president, I would be fucking killed. I know for that for a fact. Because like I would like start like fucking with people's money or something like that. And like I would be killed.
To slow the sink and protect the land, engineers have got a few tricks up their sleeves, starting with rock revetments. They line the site like a large boundary wall with sloped sides to defend against tidal deterioration. With the perimeter...
FYI, if you're only 20 cm taller than me, then you're not that tall. Sorry, bucko.
Covered, the land underneath where the airport's going to sit is then fitted with
If you think that just because you're 20 cm taller than me, suddenly you're tall, dude, cope a little bit. You're still short, bucko.
Geogrids. They act like ribs to improve ground stability, while deep cement mixing or prefabricated vertical drains target the clay-like layer.
They are still growing. Okay, keep coping, bro. Keep coping.
But it doesn't
Whatever
stop
you
there.
want to believe in.
To really condense the sand, horizontal vibrations and fluid penetrate through the ground to reduce soil friction and densify the layers. It's a process known as vibroflotation. So it's not like
I'm not done growing. Why would I care about being shorter than some random fucker online? Hello? Are we serious, dude? Guys, I don't care that you're taller than me. Sincerely, I don't care. Why do you think I would care about that?
there aren't mitigating devices to strengthen the ground. But that doesn't protect the airport from flooding. So the landmass is going to rise to a height of about 4 meters. That's all great, but Global Witness reports the engineering assumptions are excessively optimistic. If experts are to be believed, flights could be grounded.
If you didn't care, you wouldn't mention it so much. You guys mentioned it to me! Shut the f up!
Runways covered in water
My God!
within 30 years. That's if ground sinking doesn't cause greater issues first.
It's particularly concerning that it has been passed. You don't need to be an expert to say that the coastal areas are at risk, particularly in the Philippines, and particularly this area is a very concerning area.
Oh my God, guys, we're watching a video about Asia's new mega airport in my country, and we're talking about corruption, and we're talking about how Japan is so much better than us in every single way, but whatever, it is what it is. Oh, guys, did you know I'm 20 cm taller than you, Debbie? Shut the f up.
Now, I'd love to say that's where the controversy surrounding New Manila International ends, but severe environmental damage caused
Surprise, surprise, you're gonna be shorter than a Filipino woman. Congrats.
ecosystem in Manila Bay, most important coastal areas in the country, has been labelled as potentially irreversible. SMC will point to a commitment to plant new mangroves and a platform for migratory birds, but scientists say the wrong species of mangroves have been planted. Then there's the issue of displacement.
Over 700 families and around 3,000 people will be directly impacted by this airport by being displaced, some of them with little or no compensation. And it has a trickle-down effect because it's not only the families that are displaced, but also the communities that their livelihoods depend on the coastal areas where the airport will take place.
Oh my God.
Now, we've talked a lot here about land reclamation and the ways in which New Manila International is going about it. But according to the developer, this isn't land reclamation at all. They've labelled the project a land development, seemingly bypassing strict government controls and creating
Marikina
new
Pasig
land in the
River
sea.
Flood Control
And while you can
Project
clearly
is
see some
being done by
pre-existing
a Japanese contractor rule, and it works
Dude, there's nothing wrong with having other countries help your country, dude. I don't know why there's like such like crazy concepts of like, yes, I do want the Japanese to fucking help this country.
Howdy,
We do
Demet.
need help when it comes to like flooding. However, the money just goes to fucking some politician's pocket and then it goes nowhere. So that's the reason why it usually doesn't even happen. Cozy Links, these are 13 months.
land where the project began.
The Philippines is never going to prosper because there's always a politician that needs to be richer.
The sheer amount of sand dredged and dumped here makes that argument a difficult sell. SMC hasn't responded to the B1M's request for comments. Despite the odds, New Manila International continues its development. Construction of the airport is set to begin in 2026, and roadways to the site are well underway. The whole project is just one piece of a wider vision to create a 12,000 hectare city.
Jesus Christ, what? This is not gonna happen here. There's just no fucking way.
Featuring houses, government
How the
buildings,
f do they have the funding for this if we can't even have a flooding system? The whole country is literally flooding, and they want to build a new city?
a seaport, and an industrial zone.
What?
And while the old saying rings true that you need to spend money to make money, at $15 billion, this project does feel like an enormous gamble.
Oh my God, and to think that that's just like coin change to Elon Musk.
If it all goes to plan, this airport could be one of the most impressive airports anywhere on the planet. But if you listen to the experts, New Manila International could be in for some serious turbulence.
Wow.
Want to get more from the definitive video channel for construction?
That was a really good video, dude. I had no idea that they were even doing this shit, dude. I had zero clue. I'm surprised that we're doing this now when we're still like having fucking fights between... This is so political. I'm so sorry. But I'm surprised that we're doing this when like we're still having fights between like who keeps the ocean with the Chinese. Or maybe did that end or what? Yeah, we're literally like China, like once our like sea area or whatever, and we're like having like, nope, it's still going. It's just going. We're just having war with China like a little bit. Damn. And then we have the money to build a whole new fucking city, like just like that. Cool video, but do you know that the viewer is taller than you? All right, I've had enough actually.